we're gonna
Ooh.
actually talk to Outbreak Zero, the producer and writer of Outbreak Zero tonight. So
Whoop,
they're gonna be
whoop.
joining us. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yo, I'm gonna.
that's Matt. I mean, that's Matt. That's Ken Watts and Thomas Scott. In case you people didn't know who they are. I'm not sure if that's them trying to get on the line now, anything, but oh, why not? Since we already introduced them, let's see if that's them. Do we have? Is this Outbreak Zero we tapping into right now?
Yes, it is.
Look at that. You see?
Oh, that's Thomas Scott right there. I recognize that voice.
Look at that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Now, let us know now, with all of this creative juice flowing through the lines right now, are we about to get some type of outbreak? Our skin gonna start itching or something right now with this Outbreak Zero situation?
I hope not. How you guys doing?
We all right, man. We all right. Glad to have you here with us.
Glad to be here.
Definitely.
Well, you know what? The first thing I want to go ahead and say, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ro, but I just have to do a shout out to them because they, and then I'll let them explain a little bit more. But we just had our first Pitch Bind Film Awards, and I'll let them explain. I'll let him explain the award that he got. I'm so proud of you, by the way.
Yeah, what is that?
What is that? I guess that's my cue.
Yeah. I want to know what the award is.
Okay. Yeah. Lausanne Media Group was nominated and won the Pitch Bond Film Award for Best Production Company.
Woo!
Nice. That's good stuff.
Nice.
It was the ceremony itself was I guess the best way to put it was an awesome gathering. It's great to be not only be nominated but to be recognized by your peers, and considering that we've been doing this for a number of years now, I think Saeed Wright is doing a marvelous thing as far as creating something that will, I hope, be a cornerstone as far as galvanizing the film community here in the Triad, and hopefully in the outside area. I hope we'll start. I hope it'll be a point of attraction for filmmakers outside of the Triad as well. So I want to applaud Saeed Wright. If I can get my uhs out. I want to applaud Mr. Larry Saeed Wright for the work that he's doing as far as developing the film community here in the Triad, South North Carolina.
And not to be ignorant, but explain to everybody what the Triad is, because you speak about
it. The Triad is. I'm sorry for our listeners outside of this area. The Triad comprises Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point, and those the surrounding areas, the immediate surrounding areas. So that would be the Triad.
Okay, cool. So tell us a little bit about what Outbreak Zero is about. What is it?
Okay. Well, Outbreak Zero is a dark comedy. It is a science fiction satirical TV series. And to sum it up in a word, Outbreak Zero was set in a society, or a decaying society, that has been eroded by a viral epidemic. And consequently, black people who happen to have a resistance to this virus end up being, by default, the ruling majority. So, again, it is a dark comedy. It is a satire.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That word comes about Outbreak Zero.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I have a question for you, and I know Ro has like tons of questions, but I had the pleasure of actually sitting down and looking at like a little preview. I don't know if you remember when we all sat down and we were at the I think it was at the library, and you were like, Donna, I want you to see this, and you showed it, and our reaction, we were like, wow, like, okay, yeah, now I'm interested. But what was the reaction like when you told folks, like, okay, there's going to be a virus, and the only people that are going to be living is the minority people, and what was their reaction with that?
Actually, it's been pretty good. I mean, the most scared people are actually black people. Everyone else is rather well.
To piggyback on what Kenneth said, the idea itself, the concept for Outbreak Zero goes back 2 years in the making. Michael DeLoach, who happens to be a colleague of ours, a Caucasian gentleman, came up with the idea. It's an idea that he had for years prior to our working together. And back in 2012, we were working on a film project at the time during that July. And we had wrapped up the first day of shooting, and there were 4 of us that sat down and discussed ideas for a subsequent project. And Michael DeLoach brought up what would become Outbreak Zero. It was a concept that he had of a post-apocalyptic world where blacks were the sole survivors. So we immediately jumped on that, Ken Watts and myself, and we started talking about some of the basic concepts, and then as far as story arcs, and then we began talking about the characters that would exist inside of this world, and that's how the ball got rolling with Outbreak Zero.
Yeah, and the concept is one of those ones, when you first think about it, your first, 20 thoughts are like all funny. And then as you get into it more and more, you think about what would really happen if 80% of the population vanished, in a very short amount of time. You start thinking about some of the serious things that would happen and how the people left behind would take the reins and deal with those situations and, keep up some semblance of a working society. And, what changes they would make, what they would do different. And it's, definitely, very funny, turned serious a little bit. And maybe have Outbreak.
So what made you light the match to this whole project in a more comedic way? I know I'm guessing why you would say, but I want to see if what you say is what I'm thinking actually.
Well, because laughter is the best weapon, particularly when you're dealing with a concept as controversial on its face as this. The best way to approach it is through comedy. Of course, there are a lot of very intricate, very somber topics that we grapple with that are outside the realm of fiction that people of color, or African Americans to be precise, are dealing with right now. Very the situations that really call for immediate attention right now. But people don't like to be preached to, so the best way we figured to go about it was you want to entertain. You want to lighten the situation up, but also you want to bring home the fact that we're really painting the world through Outbreak Zero, a science fiction satire. We're painting the world that we live in now. All we're doing is we're taking away what we call the noise, any excuses that black people use to not look inside of themselves, not seek introspection. We take that off the table. That's the only purpose. It's not even about an outbreak. The outbreak is more or less the backdrop.
Okay.
What we examine is the influence of Western culture on black people after a certain number of years and how it affects how we think and act toward each other and the way that we view ourselves.
Okay. Cool.
Wow.
I want to play a song. And then I want to come back because this song has something to do with Outbreak Zero in a sense. So I'm gonna play a song and I'm gonna come back and I want to ask some more questions. This song right here is this song's called Instant Fire, but you say his name, Donna, because I'm gonna mess it up.
Evan Gibson, and he is one of the main characters. Am I correct? And Outbreak Zero. Oh my God, I can't wait for this show. It's interesting.
Yeah, so we're gonna play Instant Fire by Evan Gibson. All right, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk more to the producer and writers of Outbreak Zero. It's gonna be a dark comedy series that's gonna be coming to your eyes very soon. All right, we'll be right back with Mr. Thomas Scott and Ken Watts.
Yeah, that's hot. That's really hot.
Hey, that was Evan Gibson.
Yes, Evan Gibson. You got it right this time. Congratulations. Evan, actually, we just saw something come up on Facebook. He's listening in right now, apparently, because he stated they're playing my song.
Yeah, Evan Gibson. I like that guy. I like that guy. What's up, Evan? What's up out there, Mr. Evan Gibson? Yeah, I like that guy. Yeah, we had the pleasure
Evan
of talking to him. Yeah, he's dope.
You know what?
He's a great actor too.
You know,
going to be a great actor. Yeah.
You know what would be hot? Tell us a little bit about his character, if you can, as much as you can, about his character on this show.
Okay. Well, Evan Gibson portrays the character of Jamal Dixon in the series of Outbreak Zero. And Jamal, in the world preceding the outbreak, was a high school basketball star on his way to getting the full ride to college, and even during his high school tenure, he was even being courted by some people from the pros. So he was a big deal prior to the outbreak. Some situations happened along the way that curtail any hopes he has of becoming a pro basketball player. But in the interim, his girlfriend, Letitia Barnes, who's played by Cree Simpson, gets pregnant. Now, Letitia is kind of like the it girl of the school, and they are like the hot couple during that time. But in recent years leading up to the outbreak, both of them have been struggling to keep their unit together. Jamal is trying to live to basically be a father and a provider with very little support from his ex-girlfriend who had other things in mind as far as living a particular lifestyle that they're no longer able to live. Everything that he's done up until the outbreak has been insufficient. So there's been that tension in their relationship. Plus, Letitia is inadvertently influenced by her mother, Barbara Barnes, who's played very convincingly by Dory Marie. And I'll let Ken take it over from there.
Yeah, basically when the outbreak happens and, everything is pretty much up for grabs, Jamal robs a house and brings his loot back home to Letitia, at which point, the light bulb kind of comes on in his head while getting cussed out, of course. Just take the whole house. So,
she sounds like she's a trip.
Letitia chews him out. In that particular episode, it's called The Honeymoon, and what's happening is that when black people realize, or the characters in the show realize that they are no longer under the rule of whites, and that they have this newfound freedom, you have, of course, that faction of us, or of the community, that sees the iceberg up ahead, proverbial iceberg up ahead, that the ship's about to run into, and realize, okay, we need to do something. But there are a considerable number of people who are looting. And Jamal happens to be one of those characters that we're looking under a microscope at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So Jamal robs an abandoned house. The owners of that house have passed on, for lack of a better word. And, of course, as Letitia has sent him out to do something else, to procure provisions that they're going to eventually need when things get dire. Jamal does the opposite, but he does everything he does for Letitia.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, they decide, they and a caravan of their ghetto friends move into this now abandoned plush neighborhood.
Ghetto friends.
Another group of characters called the Davids. Russell David works for the Centers for Disease Control. He is one of the central characters, and he lives with his wife, Nicole, who was a lawyer, but is semi-retired to become a stay-at-home wife and mother to their son. And so the David, or Nicole more specifically, is dealing with the trauma of watching everyone she knows around her die of this virus. The Davids are now the only people left on their block until Jamal and their ghetto friends move in next door to them. So, of course, Russell David, he's played by Robert Creighton, is far more understanding and empathetic with what's going on. Nicole, played by Chandra Peak, is, how should I say it, rather perturbed. He's not taking this too well as far as the fact that the world that she knew is irreversible, or irrevocable.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that storyline between those four characters. But the greater storyline is that the Russell David, Robert Creighton, and I'm kind of going a little on a tangent here. Robert Creighton's character, Russell David, is one of the few people who actually has some knowledge of how the virus got started, although some of his knowledge might be a little sketchy. So those are a couple of the characters that we explore in Outbreak.
And one of the interesting things about that dynamic is that, especially when you look at Nicole and her character, she sees that, the efforts in her life have been to get her, as far away from these people as she can be. And Jamal moves in next door and looks up to the David, and sees his efforts as trying as much as he can to get closer to him. So, it's a real interesting dynamic.
Wow. Hold on.
Barbara comes into that picture eventually at some point later on in the series. Barbara is a handful. That's all I can say.
Barbara seems like she's a handful.
Barbara, I said in one interview, and I'll say it here, if you think of Tasha Mack from the show The Game, and you take away Tasha Mack's
wow.
If you take away Tasha Mack's moral compass, you got Barbara Bond.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, I think we got a caller. I think we got a caller. Wait a minute. I think we got a caller. I'm sorry. Let's see what the caller. If the caller is not scared to talk. Caller, 456 caller. You want to say something? I guess they don't. They just want to listen.
Did they know the press won?
Yeah, I guess they were scared. I'm not sure. Caller, you want
to? They might have to say. I'm just curious.
Yeah. Hey, caller, 456 caller. You want to say something? This is the Kicking It with Donna and Road show, and we got the producer and writer of Outbreak Zero here with us, Mr. Ken Watts and Thomas Scott. Want to say something? Oh, I guess they just want to get a little free ride. They want to listen.
They want to listen.
Well, don't worry. We always got things that we want to ask about. I want to ask, is this you guys the first thing that you guys worked on, or and also what makes you guys such a great fit in anything to put together something so compelling as this body of work right here?
To answer the first part of that question, this is actually not the first project that we've worked on together. We've worked on a number of projects. The first one, even though Ken kind of came in at the late stages of it, was Hello, which I'm sure you've seen with, a short film that was written by Wesley Locks. And Ken came on board and did a lot of the visual graphics for that film. That was how our relationship formed. Ken and I had known each other previously, and we had lost contact with each other, and then through Locks we reunited. And we just kind of, when it comes to a cohesive artistic vision, we pretty much on the same page. We have our bouts, like most creative people do, quite a bit, but at the end of the day, we do come to a consensus on a lot. So there was Hello, that was back in 2011. 2012, All That Matters, and Ken did the visual graphics for that, the visual graphics, poster art, all that. And then there came the Junior Filmmakers Initiative, which we're still pursuing right now as far as expanding the program. Junior Filmmakers Initiative is a program that we launched back in January of last year. And that program is where we teach children from elementary all the way through high school the entire process of filmmaking, taking through all 4 stages of the filmmaking process. At the end, they create their own short film. And the film that our inaugural group created was one called Chihuahua Rampage. The children range from ages 8 to 11, 8 to 11. And they wrote the script, they conceptualized the story, they wrote the script, they created the characters, they wrote everything inside of that story they created, they cast their characters for their film. They took them through that process. They learned some of the basics of cinematography and editing and so forth, and they assisted us as far as what in front of and behind the camera. But to bring that story home, Chihuahua Rampage was shown the entire summer of that year at the Carousel Theater as part of the Carousel's Vacation Fund Film Program. It was shown before the free feature that they would have Monday through Friday. The Chihuahua Rampage was shown throughout the summer, and it was presented at the National Black Theater Festival. It was scheduled for 2 screens, but by audience request, it was shown today.
Hey, let me ask you: Is it harder to do a full-length feature, or is it harder for you to do a series-based show?
Well, a series, you have to remember that series are ongoing. So there's a lot more work involved as far as preparation. Usually a feature film is just one shot, but that a lot of studios and even some independents prepare years in advance. 6 months to maybe a year, 2 years in advance. And I always tell people this: there are no shortcuts in the filmmaking process. You can do it that way, but as far as the output, it's not going to be of what the industry standard expects. And so that's why with Outbreak Zero, it's taken us 2 years to get to this point that we're at right now. But this is a project that is unlike any other, in my opinion, as far as its scope, as far as its content. And if done right, we really feel it could be a game changer, not only for this area, but we think it can make waves throughout the country.
Okay. And how many episodes is it going to be, Outbreak Zero?
Well, Outbreak Zero, so far we have outlined 12 episodes for the first season. We've written 3.
Wow.
And we're currently shooting a sizzle reel. We're currently shooting the sizzle reel for the investors that are vetting us right now. We have 3 scenes left to shoot for the sizzle reel.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you next. I was going to say, when is this all going down?
No, we're shooting the end of June. We're going to resume shooting and finish wrapping up the sizzle reel. There are a lot of extras involved. The 3 scenes for the sizzle reel basically paint the apocalyptic vision for Outbreak Zero. That's why it's taken us so long to prepare. Because as far as the public and the investors go, you only get one chance to make a first impression.
Okay. Cool.
So I know that you're doing. You just said that you were shooting that at first, but is there any hint to when you think that you're going to go full force and we can start watching your shows and all that other good stuff?
We're aiming ambitiously for the fall of 2015 to get to actually showing the episodes. But, right now, that's depending on a lot of things, the investors, the actual network participation, and that whole thing. So right now, our main goal is to get this real finished and present that to the public so that we can start, establishing our fan base and establishing our credibility with potential investors and whatnot.
Okay.
That's what it is.
That's pretty hot right there. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Oh, I want to know. Will as for, and I don't know if we asked this question already. But will there be any music to like any background music, like featuring like Evan Gibson or anything like that? During the show.
We don't have plans for. As far as Evan Gibson, everything's on the table right now.
Mm-hmm.
As far as musical scoring, we're not at that stage at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a couple of people that we've worked with in the past that we're looking to reach out to for the musical score. I believe you're referring.
Yes.
As far as the actual soundtrack, we do have what we have in mind is a very eclectic. As far as soundtrack, we want a very eclectic type of music that transcends genre. Because again, it is a predominantly African American cast, but a lot of the themes in it are, for the most part, universal. That many people sit down and watch it and believe it's related. The music is very important, how it's conveyed. You don't want to be predictable. So there's a lot of, I hate to use this word urban because it doesn't mean anything really, but a lot of shows that have a predominantly African American cast, as far as certain things like music, tend to be very predictable. We want to go the opposite.
Like Love and Hip Hop?
Okay. I'm gonna reserve comment there. I'm referring to scripted series.
I had to throw that in there. Of course, I had to throw that in there.
Oh God! Did you have to do
We're
that?
not mad at you.
We ain't mad at you.
Oh man, that's got to be the worst show in the world.
Now you know you have to save a special part for me and Ro. I could be that sassy reporter in the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're actually shooting a scene. The scene that we're shooting June 28th is what we've scheduled. Involves reporters. It takes place at the height of the. Patrick Ferreira, I just want to shout him out. Patrick Ferreira, who's one of the few Caucasian characters in the show. Yes, not all the white people die. Just put it out there. He plays.
I had a pleasure meeting him.
He plays a white supremacist named Ernest Goodman. And in the scene that we're shooting, he has a nervous breakdown on television when he's addressing the public as far as the future of their organization. And that's the pilot episode we call Elephant, as in Elephant in the Room. So in the Elephant in the Room, of course, is that African Americans are not dying at the same rate as everybody else. So that's why we gave it that title. Ernest Goodman, in the middle of his discourse, goes off script and rushes the cameras and tries to convince his white brethren that he's led them astray and that he was wrong and that they should cohabit with as many people of color as possible so they can survive. It'll all be in the sizzle reel. It's off the chain. It's great.
And actually, in all seriousness, we would love to have you. If you want to come down, we would love to have Kickin' It with Donna and Ro in the building for that shoot. You're more than welcome to come by anytime.
You hear that,
Ro? Yeah, listen, if you want to outside of us showing up as ourselves, if you want to throw me in there as like a bum on the streets, that might be like more like me anyway. If that's not even me acting. I wouldn't even be acting then.
Oh wow!
Well, maybe there are no bums on the street at this point because there are plenty of houses to up for the grabs in this world.
Man,
well, you can be a bum in an expensive house and an expensive car.
Dad, you got me acting now. See?
Oh wow!
There are a few other characters of note that I wanted to bring up. They're the Outbreak Zero. If you want to break down the characters in a general sense, you have those characters that are looking for an alternative to what was the original status quo, and those who resist that effort. Okay. And among those characters, there are villains, of course, who resist the effort to change from the status quo. You have Marion Pugh, who's played by Lothario Boyd, and Marion Pugh is a councilman he's a lawyer by trade who entered politics under the auspices of his benefactor Barry Valentine, a cornball. Barry Valentine is played by Johnny McNeil. And so Marion weasels his way into being elected councilman. Okay, he's representative of some of our leaders, quote unquote, who talk a good game but offer no real concrete, tangible solutions toward progress. But Marion, of course, becomes the mayor by default because all of his predecessors and colleagues have died off. And when the infrastructure begins to fall apart, those people who would not listen to him previously are now descending upon him for solutions to their problems. And when none of when none of the fancy talk is working for him, then the people began moving away, looking for other options as far as leadership. So that creates tension with Barry and the population, and so he falls back on his old benefactor, Barry Valentine, who's played by, again, Johnny McNeil, who both of them are probably some of the most gifted actors. I mean, we have an ensemble cast so far that's impeccable, the best that I've worked with thus far. But getting Lothario and Johnny and Angel Housing, who plays Johnny's Barry Valentine's Lieutenant Vita, in a room together, and you've probably seen clips of that. It's something to watch. They don't just act the lines; it's like they sing the lines. Mm-hmm. They create it's symphonic to see those two, all three of them, act together.
And I want to add real quick that everyone listening can check this out at OUTBREAKTV.com. So check us out. Make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us. So
OUTBREAKTV.com.
Yes, indeed. Definitely follow them on Facebook. Check out that site, OUTBREAKTV.com. If you didn't hear it, I'm going to post that anyway on our Facebook page, and we're going to make sure you see it all over the place. I'm going to play a song, and I want to come back. I got something else I want to ask you guys. I know we got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to play one song, and then we're going to come back and ask some more questions, and then we're going to wrap up for the night because we got about 10 minutes left to talk and 5 minutes left to say goodbye. So I'm going to play a song, Drunken Love no, not Drunken Love. I don't like that. I'm going to play Dumb by Jasmine Sullivan because I like her. And this is Kickin with Donna and Ro. Yeah. And we got Outbreak Zero, producer and writer. Where did my head just go? Ken Watts and Thomas Scott. Jeez, I just I just had an outbreak. Hey, we be right back.
Basic name. The most Anglo-Saxon. We just messed with them.
That's that radio juice, man. Hey, this show is sponsored by what is this show sponsored by, Donna? You kick it.
The show is sponsored by Creating Sean. You can go ahead and check a look. If you're looking at the link right now, you'll see his logo. He does websites. He creates beats. He does it all. Check him out. Reach out to him at according with the number 2 Sean at gmail.com. That's according to Sean.
At gmail.com, and that's SEAN for you people who
SEAN.
There you go. That link is inside of our site, inside of the description of the show as well. Hey, we'll be right back. Kickin' with Donna and Ro, brought to you by BigChat.com and Raw Still Radio, WRSR, Still Magazine, StillMagOnline.com. Be right back.
Okay, gentlemen, I have a is that bong? I have a quick question. I know Ro has some more questions, but I just want to know, what was your favorite character that you guys might have developed that you just like, oh, I love this character, it's going to be hot? Who could that be?
Ray
Steele.
Okay.
Actually,
Ray Steele.
Ray Steele, his counterpart, Barry Valentine is Ray Steele's counterpart. Ray Steele is a former Vietnam veteran, former black militant, who in some certain years leading up to the outbreak fell on hard times, but is just getting reestablished. He owns a bookstore. And out of that bookstore, he has a following of people that convene there to discuss certain conspiracy theories, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. And they have been preparing for the quote-unquote final solution, where the government initiates a Holocaust. All this, that type of paranoia. Mm-hmm. So they basically formed a paramilitary unit cell. That's the word I'm looking for. So when the outbreak occurs and chaos ensues, and when the electricity goes out and all these power failures, the law enforcement apparatus, which is greatly decayed and been reduced because of the outbreak, is overwhelmed. So Pew or his chief of police, de facto chief of police, are unable to control some of the chaos. So Ray and his militia step in. So what happens is that Pew begins losing a lot of his credibility when Ray shows that he's able to not only establish order, but to organize efforts for rebuilding. Okay? Things that Pew has been slow to do. And so as the people start moving more towards Ray and the leadership that's forming around Ray, he falls back on Valentine. And Ray has always been suspicious of the relationship, like most people who have always known that there was a connection between Valentine and Pew, because Pew was Valentine's lawyer before he went to politics. So that was known to the public. So when Valentine tries to exert his will and Pew is slow to stop him, then they turn to Ray. And so there's a balance of power, or struggle for power that takes place, or influence rather, that takes place between Ray and Valentine. Now into that mix, there's Vita Randall. I have to mention Vita.
Yeah.
She's another favorite of ours. Vita is a leather corset wearing, machete-wielding, blonde-haired, right hand.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned her. That's who I.
She is someone who is a mentor, has been mentored by Valentine over the years, and has worked her way up into the ranks of Valentine's organization to be his right hand, his enforcer. And so she also, I'm not going to say too much about Vita, but
you don't want to lock eyes with her.
Yeah, let's just say that she's not someone you want to underestimate.
Wow. So we got Vita.
She's played by Angel Housey. She's played by Angel Housey.
Angel Housey, okay. Hey, let me ask you, do you guys make any appearances? Do you show up anywhere in the series at all? You guys, do you do a Steven Spielberg or anything?
We're behind the camera. No.
All behind the camera? Oh, man. I thought you were going to do who was that, Steven Spielberg, who used to show up all the time in his...
Oh, I know.
Steven
Spielberg.
He's only shown up in one of his films, I think, and that was E.T.
No, it was the other. What was the other with the horror movie that he did with the series?
With the Spider-Man. And he always shows up. He always does a cameo.
He's a comic book artist.
Yes, him. Yes.
Stan Lee was a lot of the Marvel comic book characters. Stan Lee was one of the creators, so he's kind of like an iconic figure in the comic book world. So he's been known to appear in a lot of the Marvel films. Mm-hmm. He's not a director per se. Of course, Spike Lee, the first 4 films Spike Lee appeared in his first 4 films. So.
Okay, so yeah, we gonna. Well, I don't know. Yeah, Spike. Yeah, I guess we gotta give Spike his notoriety, huh? But right now we're gonna give Outbreak Zeros. Here I go again. Thomas Scott and help me here. Kim Watts. God, why was I about to call you Matt Kemp for some reason? Who is Matt Kemp? Who is that?
I'm cool with that too.
I have no idea who Matt Kemp is, but I was just like switching your name. I'm switching the Ken Watts to Matt Kemp.
I can tell you something you'll remember. He is the director of Awesomeness. Ken Watts.
Ken Watts. Ken Watts.
Remember that, right? You're not gonna mess that up because he'll be rather raw.
I'll be rather foolish. I would be rather foolish. I would be just straight foolish. Hey, we at the end of the show, man. I hate this. I don't like when this happens. I'm gonna let you. Yeah, I gotta let you guys. I'm gonna let you guys sign off before we sign off and anything. So, hey, you guys want to say one last thing before we get up out of here for the week?
OUTBREAKTV.com.
Yes, www.outbreaktv.com. Very, very simple to remember. It takes you to our fan page, but it will be the portal to all social media that we're hooked into.
And I just want to add a statement to anybody listening. If you're interested in the show and you want to see it come to fruition, you got to make your voices known. Join our fan page. Join in on the discussion. We'd love to hear from you.
Also, I do want to give a shout out to our crew, Michael Bowie, who is our cinematographer. The guy's a beast as far as lighting, sound. Great. He's proven to be an invaluable part of what we're doing. Angel Housey, who in addition to being a cast member is also our casting director, has been heavily involved in the casting process. Angela Mahoney, our first AD, Dan Buren, was one of our crew members. Chandra Peak, who is in our head of our makeup department, who also plays Nicole, and those who contributed in that capacity, Denise Lee, Megan Oglesby, and also some other cast members. I did mention Jamantha Watson, who plays Nicole's mother, Joyce Allreed. She's a character I haven't mentioned. There are other characters that we're going to be casting for. We don't have a full cast yet. We'll provide more information with that. If you are interested in casting, go to OutbreakTV.com, become a fan, and just send us a shout out. We'll give you as much information as we can.
That's what's up. OutbreakTV.com. You heard him. Ken Watts and Thomas Scott. I got it right. So there. Donna, you want to say something before we go? We had these great guys with us tonight.
Oh, I just want to thank you guys for being on this show. I can't wait for your show to come out because I'm already a big Chat Outbreak fan. So I just want to let you guys know that. And I want to welcome all of our listeners back next Monday because we're going to have WXII Buster Brown on the show. So I can't wait. And he's going to be talking about him being involved in an awesome event that we've created down here in North Carolina. So, and then also to thank our sponsor, Creating Sean, for sponsoring this show this evening.
And if you want to get the Creating Sean, just go to according to with the number 2, Sean, SEAN, @gmail.com. All right? Holla at him, according to Sean @gmail.com. We out of here. Let's do it again next week. Round of applause for Outbreak Zeros, Ken Watt, Thomas Scott, because I'm so dope because I just got it right. Ha.
Good night.